Hopefully Leo will pop on. But if he doesn't, thankfully I prepared as if he wasn't going to join because I wasn't sure if he wasn't going to be able to join today. So we'll be okay. People will hop on as it goes, but you know, let's get started. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the third week. Yeah, third week of the Southern Chile box. We are tasting this guy. This green label, 2023 A los Vinateros Bravos Pipeno Blanco is what we're tasting today. And as you have noticed, it's a 1 liter bottle because sometimes 750 just ain't enough. Um, what a way to get through the hump day. You know what I mean? And especially when the wine is this delicious, 1 liter is a welcome surprise. In case you weren't wondering why the bottle felt bigger, because it's a 1 liter bottle. All right, just a few announcements before we get into the wine. Wine Prom, I don't know if you guys got the email, but this year Wine Prom is going to be a month earlier. So usually we do this on the last Saturday of April, but we're going to do it on the last Saturday of March this year. So I know that that's a shorter amount of notice than you normally get. So I apologize about that, but I would love to get a rough head count ASAP. So if you are planning on joining us, then could you just shoot me an email, reply back to the email, just say, hey, I'm in +1, just so that I can get an idea of how many people I can expect so I can start planning around it, because obviously it doesn't give us a whole lot of time to plan. I only have a little over a month to pull that together. So help me, help you, help us, and let's party in March instead of April this year. The invoices for next month went out 3 days ago. If you are planning, I need to wrap that up. So this weekend I'll start chasing after people. Actually, tomorrow I'll probably start chasing after people to close out the invoices. So if you are planning on joining, just go ahead and take care of that invoice. If you're not, just let me know. Just let me know you're pausing for a month or whatnot, just so that I can get my numbers up correct or accurate. And just in case you're wondering what next month's theme is going to be, in the light or in preparation, the start of the TV and movie award season, I'm calling it the supporting actors box. So we're going to Loire Valley because you know what? I don't really have any other reasons. I just love Loire. I just want to drink some Loire wines next month. But we're not going to do Chenin Blanc, Cabernet Franc, or Sauvignon Blanc, which are the major actors of Loire Valley. We're going to do all the obscure, unknown, that all underappreciated grape varieties. So we're talking about like Pinot Doni, Menu Chenou, what were the other one? Grollo, things like that. So it's going to be a whole different box of your like I probably have never heard of, or most people would have probably never heard of it. A lot of these wines are never made into a varietal bottling. They're usually in its own kind of they play a blending role. So it's a way to highlight these kind of like the extras, so to speak. The extras that have not been discovered of Loire Valley is kind of the theme of next month's box, in case you were wondering what we're doing next month, in case that mattered. I think that's all the announcement I have. Obviously, for those of you who are in the Boge box, recordings have been going out. So if you have not been getting it, let me know ASAP. But they have been going out every Friday. The third recording will hit this Friday, and then obviously next week is the fourth one, which means it's the live one. So next week, for those of you who are in Boge box, you're going to have 2 live tastings, which means you are lucky enough to see this guy live or on Zoom twice a week, and you're welcome. So yeah, so expect that. But yeah, there you go. Any questions about any of the announcements or anything else before we get into the wine itself? Excellent. Excellent. In case you're just joining us now, we are tasting this guy, 2023 A los Vinateros Bravos Pipeno Blanco, a liter bottle. And you're wondering if we've had this producer before, and you would be completely correct because we have. We've had his Volcanico, the País bottling, back when we had the Chile 2.0. But we are doing his Pipeno Blanco today. So we've featured Leo's wines before, but we're doing it again because these wines are delicious. And I just got to visit him, so this is another excuse to give you all the photo slideshow again that nobody asked for. Oh, and the man of the hour, Leo, can you hear me? You're muted.
Now I do.
Ah, amazing. Glad you could make it. I wasn't sure if you were going to be able to make it, but
Been a long day.
excellent, excellent. Well, what is it? 10:30 over there at night?
Yeah,
Yeah. Kids
yeah,
went to bed?
yeah. Just now.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like you were doing it from the inside your house, or are you doing it?
Yeah. The
Yeah,
living room.
yeah. Cool, cool. Well, amazing. I wasn't sure if you were going to be able to join, so I prepared as if you weren't joining today, but that's great. It's all good. We can still talk about it. I still have plenty of questions. There's plenty of things I can lead you through. But just to give everybody a quick little bio, the gentleman that I was just talking to, his name is Leonardo Eraso. He is one of the three winemakers that I actually had the opportunity to visit. And Leo is actually the one that I visited for the longest time. I actually stayed 2 nights at his property, at his house with him and his family. And I got to pick his brains and just kind of be his shadow for like 2 days. And he was gracious and hospitable enough to let me just tag along and ask all these questions and just be part of his daily life. So I really appreciate it, Leo. For those of you who are not familiar with Leo, I mean, like I said, we featured his wines before in the Chile 2.0, but in case you don't remember, he is based in Itata. He's kind of what I consider, I mean, it's not just me, many wine people in the world is consider Leo to be kind of a ambassador slash pioneer slash safeguard of the Itata Valley and Itata wines and the Chile wine in general, one of the most exciting and kind of a leading winemaker of Chile. So I am very, very honored and happy that you were able to join us. He's joining us directly from his home in Itata Valley in Chile, where he stayed, where it is 10:41 p.m. at night. So without further ado, I give to you all Leo Iraso of so many different things, but in this case, a los Vinateros Bravos, because that's what we're tasting today. Welcome, Leo.
Thanks, Un. Thanks for inviting me. It's really nice to have the chance to join the club. So I'm very happy.
Amazing, amazing. So, I mean, Leo, I was kind of hinting at it when I was there, but as soon as I got back, it's like, I don't know, I was telling people here in DC that, that trip to Chile, and particularly that portion of it when I was visiting you, that whole trip really just kind of reinvigorated me in a way that like I haven't felt that way in a long time in wine. Like, obviously I've gone to wine regions, I've gone on wine travels before, but being there, seeing those vines and seeing the way you guys work and where you are and what you're trying to do, it really was a completely inspiring as well as a revitalizing, but it like challenged me in so many ways of it made me question everything that I knew about wine. It was a kind of a lot of wine club folks have been at the receiving end of me talking about this month. So this month is all about kind of highlighting some of the questions that have been floating around in my head that was inspired by that trip in Chile. So I've been talking things like, what is new world? What is old world? When the oldest vines in the world are in the new world, like it's like how are those distinctions, do they make sense? Are they even useful? Things like that to kind of what you are doing, which is, not only uh you were the kind of ambassador who's the one who started highlighting all these small growers in Itata and showcasing all these old vines. But now, having visited you, you're doing something you're trying to add another layer, diversity to the Chilean wine landscape. Like, for those of you guys know, where Leo is, he's literally right on the cliffside. Like, you can see the Pacific Ocean from his house, and I'll share the pictures in a little bit. And he's trying to plant things like Chenin Blanc. He's planting Riesling in southern Chile. I mean, it's just like he's adding yet another layer of Chilean, like you're adding to the Chilean history and winemaking history. And it was so inspiring to see you do that. So that's kind of like why I want to have you here and kind of talk about it. And so people can, and a lot of what I do here is that I try to build context behind wine. Like I feel like my job as sommelier, as somebody who sells wine, it has always been that I'm trying to portray what's in the glass. It's not just a beverage. It's not just liquid to drink. There's actually story there. There are many, many human hands that had to touch it to go from grapes to that glass. And there, in cases like you, very like these artisanal winemakers, you guys are trying to say something with the edge everything that you're making. It's not just like a commodity, everyday wine. So I'm very happy to have you here today. And I thought the best way to kind of start, just to get everybody an idea of who you are and what we're about to talk about, is kind of how your how you got into wine. Actually, I know you're born and raised in Santiago, but I know that you told me the story of a couple failed love that took you around the globe and then the world and into the wine world. And then it's essentially what got you to be a geologist essentially in South Africa. So could you give us a little background on how you got started?
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me well.
Yeah, yeah, we can
Do
hear
you?
you. Yeah.
Awesome. It's because like the connection here sometimes comes and goes. We're still
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of like far out off grid. The whole, well, as you know, the winery, but for all the members of the club, we are very off grid making wine. So we have really little electricity and little water and a little connection to internet too.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I love being outside. I really love nature, so I wanted to go in agriculture. I study agriculture, and then when I start finding out about the nice thing of eating and pairing with wine, and something like click in my head, and then I start traveling, and then I was very lucky to go to Spain and France, and I enjoyed it so much that that you get the I don't know, that feeling of like sharing, meeting new people, and traveling all together in one around one thing, which is wine. It was fantastic, no? So, long story short, I went to work in Australia, New Zealand, California, Germany, Italy, and so on. So, it was fantastic. And then I realized like all the wineries were pretty much similar. So I wanted to learn more what makes a wine more unique from certain regions, and that was soil science. So I worked with different people in the soil science, Pedro Parra being one of them in here from Itata. And then I went to study in South Africa, just soil and viticulture. So
But it wasn't just by chance you went to South Africa to study. You fell in love with a winemaker who was from South Africa, and she took you there, and that's how you ended up in South Africa.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
to interrupt, but go
No, no, no. I need a glass.
ahead.
And yeah, so then when I came back to Chile after South Africa, this has been already what I've told you is like 10 years, more or less. I came to Itata. I was appointed as a university, as a lecturer at the university, and then I got to see Itata, like the deep Itata. So with all the background that I have, like working in in so many countries, and then study soil, and then seeing what it was happening here, like um, what happens here in Itata is really a unique place. It's all vines, ungrafted, like anywhere else in Europe, and you have granite and volcanic soils, like really, really, really strong rocks, for the character of the wines, and it was all abandoned, in a certain way. Like people was just growing grapes to sell them to big wineries. They lost a little bit of the winemaking in certain ways. 500 years old story here. So, and then Conchitoro became kind of like a big buyer of grapes, and so I thought like, wow, man, this is just a dream for a winemaker. So I started working here, and At the same time, I was in Mendoza here. I went to work in Mendoza for like 8 years. So now 10 years have passed. We have 10 hectares that we manage here, 6 hectares of really old vines. Like the oldest is from 1798, a País. Um,
I
so
mean, which is insane. I mean, it
yeah,
just it's
yeah,
unheard of.
and you're never gonna find that. So that's what it brings to what you say, like this concept of the new world and the old world is really something that is completely makes no sense today. I think first of all, because if you look at wine from terroir perspective, like from the landscape, geology doesn't recognize all the new world. You know, it all happens everywhere. So you have granite soils, you have limestone soils, you have volcanic soils in South America or in the whole Americas as much as in Europe. That's the first of the things. And
Mhm.
then the second is like we have a 500-year history already, and we still have the old material pre-phylloxera. So phylloxera never arrived here, and we still have the same way of viticulture like pre-industrial revolution. So everything is worked here like not thinking that there will be tractors or electricity. So everything is by horse or walking. So there is no other way. So yeah, I think if there's something left of the old world, which I would call the old world, the pre-phylloxera world, is what it is here.
Exactly.
And yeah, and then what is the Europe was reinvented after phylloxera. No, they have to like
Right.
graft, they have to rechange, they reshape. Then at the same time, you have tractors coming in, so the vineyards move normally from like steeps, not in the Mosel, not in all, in many areas, but in a lot of the Europe, it became part of like more flat lands and more easy to mechanize and things. So it became yeah, it's something else. You have a lot of big wineries, a lot of wine happening, and also in Chile, at the time. So Paritata, Biobío, and Maule are three regions in Chile that remain like really old. And for
Yeah.
me, it's like a dream. It's a dream that like any winemaker that I speak to, and all my friends like at work, they can't believe it. They come here. It's like uh, it's funny, because they always say, but this is crazy. It's not sustainable, because you have to do it all by hand.
Yeah.
And but I always tell them it's 500 years. You're telling me it's not sustainable.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And
So
I literally used the phrase to describe what I saw there as a somebody who works in wine. It's like discovering a like lost kingdom. It's like you go there and you see these alien arm-like vines shooting out of the earth, and they're
yeah,
just everywhere, and which also doesn't exist anywhere else in the world.
yeah,
Is the most rare things in the wine world, and it's everywhere there. And it's just like I could imagine, which is funny to talk about because Chile obviously also has a colonizer history of Europeans coming over, probably like taking over the land. But like I can imagine that's probably what that must have felt like. Me going there, seeing these things. I'm like, holy shit! Like this is unbelievable. This is amazing. Like I want this. Like.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but yeah, it was like a treasure trove. It's like a going on a treasure hunt and finding your
yeah,
what you were looking for. It was unbelievable. It was like emotional, honestly, to
yeah.
see all of that. So I know you are involved in quite a few different projects, and then each project focuses on different things. Um, Actually, before we even get to it, let's talk about Itata just a little bit more. So you mentioned three regions, right? Like Itata, Bio being the most south, so it's the southern hemisphere, but it's the coolest, in general, coolest. And then Itata in the middle, and then Maule, north
Mhm.
of Itata. I mean, besides obviously the north to south, like the latitude, but in terms of soil or climate or anything like that, how would you distinguish the difference between these three places, and also how that reflects on the final like wine style? Uh,
Well,
because they
to
are
make
all made from the same like grapes, right? Like they're all Pais,
yeah,
Moscatel,
pretty
like
much.
I mean,
Yacateos.
all these things grow there, but they all have very different style depending on where it comes from. So how,
Yeah.
to you, how would you distinguish that difference?
Yeah, what happens in these three regions is, well, Chile is a very narrow country, so it has like 3 to 400 kilometers width, right?
Yeah.
Um, so what it makes a huge difference is how close you are actually to the mountains on the valley, on the bottom of the valley, or close to the ocean, to the Pacific Ocean. No? So from the Andes to the Pacific Ocean, you have two like cooler regions, but if you are in the middle, it doesn't matter if you are in Maule, Tata, or Biobío, it's really kind of like warm to hot. So what happened is like most of the Maule wine areas are pretty much from Cauquenes towards the Andes, so it's like the bottom of the valley, and it kind of becomes really hot. So that makes Pais, the wines that come from there, like a little bit riper, bigger, thicker, um, and also a later a later arrival there was Cabernet and Carignan and other grapes that they really do manage well heat. So sometimes you'll find, especially the Pipeños, which is the most traditional wine that we have in Chile, it's a mix of different grapes normally. Though you have Pais base with a little bit of Cabernet, with a little bit of Carignan. Um, in Itata, what happens is like in Guariliwe, we're very close to the Pacific Ocean, only 20 kilometers or so. So the influence of the Pacific, which is huge, no, it's a huge ocean from here to Japan. It has a huge influence inland in the viticulture that we're doing. So you have a much fresher and hilly kind of like landscape, and that actually introduced in like very much fresher wines, more acidity, linear wines. Yeah, it has like a different verticality if you compare it to, and the aromas also change because when Pais gets too much heat, it goes to like very kind of meaty or leather or animals kind of like character. While if it's a mild kind of temperature, it goes to more like if you pick early, you have like crunchy breadfruits. If you pick a little bit later, you have like more kind of confiture or marmalade, kind of like breadfruits. And then Bio Bio is much cooler. You still have like a coastal influence, more volcanic soils. Here we have more granitic soils, and down there you have like a really like super fresh, fine kind of pais,
Hmm.
super delicate, fragile, really nice. Really kind of like the style that I like.
Yeah.
And yeah, so if I could say that, like maybe Maule is a little bit more the warmest, Itata right in the middle, and Bio Bio would be the coolest. As
Yeah.
a
I love,
generalization.
yeah, I always find Itata to be kind of now that I've gone through all three of them on this trip, and I could see that style difference, and I feel like Itata is that perfect kind of, you can achieve that power and ripeness of the Maule depending on where you are in Itata. But because
Yeah,
of the cool Pacific Ocean influence, you still have that like freshness, elegance, and the acid of Bio Bio. So you kind of have best of the both worlds and
yeah,
when I see
yeah,
it. So yeah,
yeah. I
that was
agree.
really good for me. Um, Also for all the folks who was on the call, because we talk so much about acid on this wine club, because that's like one thing that I care about the most in the wine more than anything else. It's like the wine's got to have acid. If it doesn't have acid, like why drink wine? Go drink beer, you know? Uh, and the
Good point.
fact that and the folks who like when I was talking to Leo about these different soil types and like granite versus volcano, why here? Why did you choose here? Like where he established his family homes is literally right on top of the hill. There's a lot of cool breeze. Like it's quite cool there. Why here? And his simple answer was acid. He's like, I want acid, and it's like he and I are gonna get along just fine. um, so yeah, let's get into that a little bit. You have different projects. You have you have the Los Vinateros, and then now you have Eraso wines, which is the wines of the vineyards that you have planted near your home. Um, so tell us a little bit about Los Vinateros because you have two different projects. You have like a negociant project where you are buying and purchasing grapes from the growers, but then you
Yeah,
also have your own vineyards that you are farming and then you're planting and doing all of that.
yeah,
And 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 you said something to me that was really something I never thought about, but tell me about how you went from, because you started out with buying grapes, but then now you're planting your own stuff, but you felt that you needed to do that almost out of respect for these old growers, which I found it
Yeah.
really interesting perspective that I never thought about. So could you get into that a little bit?
Yeah. Well, a los Viñateros Bravos, the whole name, the translation is to the brave Viñerón. And basically, it was a project that I felt like I just came here. I realized like the beauty or the potential or whatever you want to call the thing they have here. They weren't probably really translating into the wine or even to the market itself. And but I also at the same time I felt so humbled by for me, sorry, to explain it better maybe, arriving to an area and being able to work with 200 years old vineyards is thanks to somebody else that has worked those vineyards and not just one generation, no? Like sometimes 5, 7 generations of people that have actually kept those vineyards alive and producing and prune and have done all the work. So to just arrive here and say this is the wine of Leo Eraso, I thought it was very like um, not okay. And many people do nowadays. And I was like, no, like I'm gonna call the project to them, like to the brave Viñeros that have actually gone through like all this trouble and and I want to explain to everybody here like the trouble I meant like at some point in the world everything was about Cabernet Sauvignon, Chardonnay, and Merlot. So all the grapes that they were like indigenous, I would say, or native now from here, like Pais and Moscatels and Sanso, Carignan, etc., they were categorized as second class grapes. So when Conchitoro, the big wineries will buy the wines, the grapes, they will pay for a Cabernet maybe 70 cents of a dollar, and for the Pais and for all the rest, 10 cents, because they were bad grapes,
Yeah.
which makes no sense. No, that doesn't exist like a bad grape or better grape. It really makes no sense. But they have to actually go through all these many years of like selling very cheap and just surviving really. So that's why I think they were very brave to like not giving up and just stick to what they believe and they love to like farm. And but what also happens is like the generation of my age, they didn't want to farm because they don't see an economical possibility there. So now has changed, and maybe you saw it yourself. There's a lot of like young guys and girls that actually taking over the grandparents' farms, which is great, which is really beautiful to see. And yeah, so the first project was like that because I was working with them. I will do the old soil mappings, I will do the selections, and but they were really the protagonists. So that was called to them, and then we try to like really make it as a cooperative in a way. So we will like split any earnings that we will have. And yeah, so that's how Piñateros Bravos came to be alive. But then one of the guys, Victor, Don Victor, he didn't want to farm anymore. He was already too tired, like already reaching almost 90. So it was in the late 80s. And yeah, he said like, Leo, I want to sell to you the vineyards, that I have, because my kids they don't want to work on the vineyards, so I don't want them to get lost the old vines. And then I couldn't afford, so I just bought like 1 hectare, and he has like seven to sell.
Mm.
So I bought 1 hectare, 1.5 hectares, and that's how I became also a viñero myself at first. But then that was in 2014, and then you realize like how the impact of like when you really want to make a wine, and then we always say it as a cliche, but it's so true. That's why probably it became a cliche. Um, you have to farm it, and you make the wine along since the pruning time all the way towards the harvest is when you really make the wine. And when you're farming yourself, you really make the wine that you want to make. When you're buying the grapes or working with somebody, it's a collaboration at the end, no? So it has a different value. but I felt like making a different project for my own vineyards. So that's how the family Eraso Familia came to be, and it's all parcela únicas. It's like very specific soil types, and in aiming in certain ways to reach character, complexity, and longevity in the long run.
Yeah, I remember you telling me this when we were walking your vineyards, because we were walking your young vineyards that you had just planted, and then we were talking about this, and then you were saying, yeah, it just felt like I really needed to get my own vineyards to make the wines that I wanted to make, and I was asking you, like, what couldn't you show them kind of what to do and what needs to be done and all of that. And this is what you said to me that I never even thought about. That it was like it was very humbling for me because you told me that it was a very humbling experience for you. Is that like things like what we take it as such a great practice in organic farming, like having a cover crops.
Mm.
Grow grass between the rows. Or grow little cover crops in between. But being in the place where you are, there's a huge threat of a wildfire everywhere, all the time.
Yeah,
So you said there's one vineyard because you grew cover crops and it dried out. That vineyard burned more than all the other vineyards who didn't have cover crops. But you were the one who was telling these, people who've been farming for 8 generations, like, no, 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 like put cover crop. That's a good thing for the vineyards. But turns out that was actually not. So
yeah,
you're like, you know what? I got to walk my shit back. It's like, and
yeah,
then I thought that was like such a telling, humbling story about it's not just it's the knowledge through generations, right? People who've been doing this for 8 generations, they have such knowledge of that part of the world and what needs to be done to grow the best grapes they can. So this idea of, because me being a sommelier here in Washington D.C., working at the hip natural wine bars and restaurants. It's like it's so easy for us to be like, oh, if you don't grow cover crops and if you spray anything, the fuck that. Like we don't want to work with that kind of wine.
yeah, yeah,
But it was a very humbling thing for me to hear that. I was like, you know what? Like I don't know shit. Like I don't farm these things. Like I don't know any of these things. Like I can't be the one to make a judgment on what they do. But so yeah, to hear that from you was a really, really incredible.
yeah. No, yeah, that's exactly right. Um, I think it's a craft, no, and then the craft comes with trial and errors and learning and experience, and those guys sometimes they don't have many times they don't have the studies or anything, but they have the feeling, no, for the land, for the soil, for the
Yeah.
fires, for everything that is. That's how they manage to get the vineyards through. So we do have ideas, and I think it's good to have them. It's also good to try them, and then it's also good to when you fail to earn the failing, no, to like really assume it or like integrate it
Yeah.
and then change, so we don't burn again. No, like you
Yeah.
said, we in 2023 we lost 4 out of 6, so it's
Yeah. Can we actually, since we're on the topic, I was going to ask you about that a little bit later. So, just for the folks on the call, the day I was leaving Leo's property, there's been a wildfire that's been encroaching on his vineyard, closer and closer every day. And on the day I was leaving, they could actually see the fire from the vineyard. That's how close I got. And there's a whole incident where, like, I don't know, somebody came in, broke his water lines on the vineyards, and like stole some shit. Like something happened, like
yeah,
vandalized the property. So, but like that's not what I'm trying to focus on the vandalization. You and I've talked since then. I know everything you were down there and taking care of that. But I want to talk a little bit more about because this is something that I've been talking about the kind of effect of human factor, human influence on the terroir and just kind of the winemaking because so much of what's happening down there is logging and it's the Pinochet legacy of all the eucalyptus and pine that replace all the native trees that grew there and it is like making the wildfire hazard threat so much worse than ever. So could you talk a little bit more about what's been happening there and then why the wildfire is getting out of control and talk maybe about climate change and all of that as well.
yeah. It's really a combination of factors. No, what you said is really true. We had a program uh, back 30, 40 years ago when Pinochet took over the government. As he was a dictator for like 30 years in Chile, and then under his regime, what it was promoted to put like pines and eucalyptus, and the government would subsidize the big companies to like to do so. No, so you will get your money back on the plantings, like almost 90% or 80%. I don't remember exactly, but a big a big portion of it. So that was to like promote this big industry. But today we know now like how here in a way kind of like pines and eucalyptus, they're really like gunpowder in a way. When it's fires, the fires nearby is like a loudspeaker. No, if a small fire gets to like a eucalyptus forest or like a pine tree plantation, because they're not forest, they're plantation, it kind of like go like, and then it becomes like unstoppable. And then that's what happened when you just left. It's like a really tiny thing, just like, and then went like crazy, and it reaches like 1,kilometer from our property, and then the wind changed. But like what it was a lack for us, it was a problem for somebody else. So it's not like the fire went extinguished. No, it was like more of a we didn't burn, but some other people did burn. So, and the problem is like we as a country have not addressed all the situation. Is like we try to blame it into people lighting fires, or like you take the responsibility away from the first from the governments, on the one hand, and second uh, from the companies that actually explode those forests.
Yeah.
um, and then like us as a producers, we really have to like deal with all of that. So, like we have to like promote things, we have to like talk to people, and try to create some conscience in the community, or like not keep growing eucalyptus, not keep growing pines. Like really, more like it's a change that comes from below, from the bottom, like from the people, rather than from the government and from the um, yeah, big companies, because they don't actually, they don't care. That's the real thing. If they would care, because this is not new. Since I'm here, we have fires 2012, 2014, 17. The 23 was the one that really reached my property, and but we have it today this year. So it's a thing that happens every year.
Yeah, it was interesting because I've been talking to everybody, all the producers I visited, including you, about climate change and kind of what's happening. But yeah, that perspective also, what you were saying, it's like there's so much of a human factor that needs to be ground up from the demand had to come from us. It can't just be pointing fingers at the government, like you're not doing anything, you're not doing anything. But we, as not only the consumer, but the residents of that area, have a responsibility to like demand the change and actually change our own kind of uh, jobs or livelihood, how where we make our money from, and things like that, that will
Yeah,
cause quite a
yeah,
bit of change.
exactly.
Interesting thing to, yeah, there was a different perspective that I heard from people, so I appreciated it. Anyways, on that note, we're gonna continue going with that. But before that, I figured. Well, first of all, does anybody have any questions for Leo at this point
Yeah,
about
please do.
Itata or Chile?
Yeah, I had one. I was curious. Thanks for joining the call, first of all. Um, some of those varietals like Riesling and all that, how are they doing so far in your environment? Are they thriving, or is it too early to tell?
Well, we are in front of the Pacific Ocean, which means what I have to deal now is with a lot of humidity. So they are thriving. We have good kind of yields, but we do have, because we're inorganic, we do have a lot of pressure with oidium. So oidium is something that I have to learn how to manage now. But I think, well, I'm very positive because they're all cold climate grapes. So we put Chenin, Albarino, Semillon, Riesling, Chardonnay, um, in all in slate soils. So it's all kind of schist. And yeah, I'm very excited. I think this year we're gonna have the first release of Chenin Blanc, and but I have to deal with. I'm learning, no, because nobody is. It's crazy, but when you have nobody to like share knowledge, you feel a little bit, yeah, abandoned or I don't know.
You ready to harvest or not? Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions? By the way, the Shannon that you and I tasted, that was you planted that in 2017, is that right? Am I
17,
remembering? Yeah. So we're almost 10 years in at this point. It was banging, folks, just so you guys know. It was
yeah.
so very good. And then it was what I was so mesmerized by that was how, I mean, given that I was there, like now I get it, but like how much it tasted like all the cool climate Chenin Blanc that I know. You know, I was expecting it to be a lot more like expressive fruit and like warmer climate, but it was the acid was ripping on that thing. You know, as a kid say, I don't know, Leo, if you ever heard the saying, but that one fucked. Like it was incredible. It was amazing. Uh, uh,
Hopefully we're gonna bottle it soon.
yeah, I really want to actually taste your Albarino. I'm really curious of your Albarino, how Albarino comes out. Sarah, did you have a question?
Yes, I do. Thank you for joining us. That was really interesting. I'm just curious, what are some other regions that you really enjoy or that you think are up and coming that are worth checking out?
Well, I was very lucky to work in Cahors in France for like 6 years or so. I was making wine there. You mean regions in the world or in Chile? Sorry.
Globally. I'm just curious.
Yeah, well, Cahors is really really interesting. I was like surprised by the soils that they have, like all limestone, different types of limestone. There is a lot of like new guys or young guys like playing around not only with Malbec but like changing into um, white grapes. So I really tasted something really interesting there. It's yeah, I think they have everything.
I tasted some.
Except like they have a bad reputation for thick black wines or something. But
I tasted some coat from Cahors today, actually, which is Malbec. It's what they call Malbec down there. Not bad.
yeah,
And
Coto.
don't tell anyone that I said this, but I made like Malbec. If more Malbec wasn't made like that, I would drink more Malbec. Let's put it
Yeah,
that way.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I will do the same. Imagine me. I was working in Mendoza, in Alto Las Hormigas. We would make such amount, like I don't know, a lot of
Yeah,
Malbec. And Kaori was really like much easier to get to the higher up the complexity level and like thin kind of character, more subtle.
yeah,
The shock on the tannins, and it's a really nice region.
yeah.
A really nice region. I completely
Excellent.
Cool,
over.
cool.
Okay, I have a follow-up. So I'm not sure who told you, but like each box has a theme. It's either like a region or a style, or sometimes it's like to go along with like a holiday meal. So if you were putting together a box, what would be your theme?
Sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
What would be your theme of the box? Like, you don't have to tell
If
me the one,
you're,
but just
The theme of the
you,
yeah,
box.
if you were putting together.
if you were to take over a month of my wine club, Leo,
Yeah,
you can put it whatever theme you want, 4 bottles you want. What would it be?
I will do it by rocks. I like
By
rocks.
rocks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I don't know. I find it really interesting because I love like when I do blind tastings. I more than the grade. I try to like guess the rock, which is I find it very fun. You know, to do.
yeah, yeah.
Like is this slate? Is this like granite? Is this volcanic? Is this alluvial? You know, like You can make with limestone like really interesting. So with granite, really fun testing. And it's amazing because I think sometimes even within countries, um, the wines, I don't know how to explain this, but I feel that we have more in common in Chile, for instance, with Swartland, with Beaujolais, like in Itata, no?
Yeah.
Rather than Colchagua and Maipo, or so even regions that are closer by, because we don't share the same rock and we don't share the same style of wine. I think, and we do share something with South Africa. We do share with something with the Côte Catalan in France or with the Beaujolais. So it's yeah. Well, I'm more related to those regions than actually to Casablanca or to
Yeah.
Blanco.
Tell me you are a geologist turned winemaker without telling me that you're a geologist turned winemaker.
I like it when we should do some rocks box.
Yeah, that's some rock
Yeah,
box. All right.
a box that
I mean, it's
rocks.
interesting. Yeah, it is true. The soil type here is essentially so right now, Leo, I'm doing this another additional box called Boch box. It's like a full case of Beaujolais. So one
Ah,
from
nice.
each 10 crews and one from Beaujolais, one from Beaujolais Village. So it's a way to kind of like move through different soil
Awesome.
types because it's all one grape, right? One
Yeah,
Gamay.
yeah.
So it's
I'd
the
like to
closest
join.
rock
I'd
box that
like
I
to join that box.
do. But it was interesting because I was looking through and thinking through it, and I do a recording every week. But yeah, like all that decomposed granitic sand and soil in Itata, like is basically the same thing in like Morgon, for example.
Yeah, it's
Like
pretty much similar to Morgon. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so I was like, huh, interesting. Yeah, it'd be very
I
interesting to
mean, the
see.
problem there's always nuances and it's always like small spots, like
Yeah,
even within Morgon, I'm sure there's big differences,
yeah,
but as a
in
yeah,
general.
in
Yeah,
general.
yeah, totally. All right. Well, I think you have a red wine, so I know you're not drinking this one, and I don't know if you even have this. You must have this vintage in your cellar, but so this is what we're tasting today. It's 2023
Yeah.
Vinateros Blanco. So, can you tell us a little more about what this is and where? Yeah, just tell us a little more about this wine, where the grapes came from, what you did, and all that, and what you think about the wine.
I love Pipeños. So
Yeah, actually, can we start there? To you, what does Pipeno mean? Like, what is Pipeno to you?
Pipeño is like the real kind of interpretation of a producer of a certain land through different grapes, So it's like it's really dependent on the guy or the lady that produces it, because you decide, you plant a vineyard. Normally it's co-planting, co-fermenting, and so it kind of always tends to be like the reds with a lot of pais and senso, but sometimes something else going on there. And the black and the whites tend to be Moscatel, Torontel, Semillon, which are the main grapes, or Chasselas. Um,
Oh, just sorry to interrupt, but just to give folks like a historical background on what a Pipeno is. Like, honestly, Pipeno, not even arguably, it is. This is actually fact. It was the first wine made in Chile, probably back in 1500s when
yeah,
the conquistadors first landed in missionaries landed in Chile. And it's essentially the most traditional wine of Chile. And then it's winemaking because of all that non-industrialization that did not take place in places like Itata and Biobío. The winemaking essentially has not changed much at all since the 1500s. So we're talking about some of the oldest winemaking that exists in Chile that has been continues to be made for the last 500 years. And the name Pipeno comes from pipa, which is like this big open top fermenter made from a local wood called rauli. Because and it was like it was meant for like farmers and the working people there to come with their jugs and get it straight from the pipa. So it's a pipa, Pipeno, and it's often like this fresh style of things. But what I also found interesting going around on that trip, talking to different people, is like Pipeno is not just this. It was not about, because I always thought like Pipeno had to be made in Rauli fermenter. It had to be go through like a zaranda, or like it has to do all these things. But what I came to realize is that, to your point, or what you were saying, is almost the true like artisanal sense. Like whoever made it, whoever farmed that land, is their expression, their making. It's like a homemade, home cooked meal, but it's like home cooked wine of their land, of their vineyard.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's what it seemed like. So
Yeah, no, no, that's what it is. So all the other things are the method, no? You can't like name a product after the method. It's not like because you're cooking in a pot that you can call, you know, the this can be a chicken, can be fish, can be anything, you know. That it's not the method the most important thing, but actually the interpretation of that place through those like foundational grapes.
yeah,
And then it was always the wine that it was always through the day, you know, a wine that it was easy drinking, like uh, fresh, enjoyable. It was all about pleasure. Um, it would be on the big tables, on the parties, like never seen a bottle. It would come from the winery to the jar, and then like so. It kind of create a whole culture around it, and yeah, it feels really nice to be part of it, no? Like being one of the producers that continue that tradition, that try to like make it as good as possible, no? Like enhance the quality of the pipeño in a way.
yeah, absolutely. Um, Tell us about this Pipeno Blanco. So this is the first time I've featured Pipeno Blanco. I've had Pipeno Tinto
Nice.
from multiple people. But yeah, tell us about this Pipeno Blanco. What you got going on here?
So that pipeño is moscatel. It's a skin ferment for about 2 3 weeks. So only the alcoholic fermentation. Um,
And by the way, that skin contact is pretty much like the par for the course when you're talking about Pipeno, right? Like in the
yeah,
white Pipeno in Chile, where we're talking about skin contact. We're talking about orange wine essentially,
always
because
been. I always
always,
been. I think. Yeah.
yeah.
It's always been skin contact, like sometimes can be longer, but normally it just depends on the alcoholic fermentation. It kind of like, it's not 100% orange wine, I would say, but it kind of like shares something, no? Because it adds tannins, it gets a lot of flavor from and I think it's really interesting because when you do a skin ferment moscatel, it kind of like tame a little bit the flowers, the whole kind of like aromatics, and it becomes more complex immediately for some
Hmm.
interaction there. So you have also here, because of the cold climate, you have the moscatels are not super aromatic like in the Mediterranean, but they're rather like white flowers and a little bit more subtle. And then the skin contact, it really adds something super interesting, which is tannins. And, and it's also fermented with Torontel, which is a grape that was kind of a cross. So it's a Criolla grape, crossing between Moscatel and Pais. And a little bit of Semillon. I love Semillon. Semillon is to me the spirit, the happiness of any wine almost, because it brings so much acid and it brings length and citric stuff. And so I love using Semillon.
Yeah.
And yeah, and because it drinks so well, that's why I bottled it in a liter bottle because we not to have not to be
That's
short of water.
that's what I said. It's like, sometimes 750 just isn't enough.
Yeah.
And then you did this, but you didn't do this in pipa. You did this in concrete, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The pipa was really the transportation, no? It was made in Rauli, in like this troncoconic kind of big vessels of Rauli. The pipas are 600 liters, so they're really small.
Got it. Yeah.
And these troncoconics, they can be 10, 20, 30,000.
Oh,
So
I thought those Rauli, those big things were also called pipa, but the smaller one, the barrel, the transportations were pipas.
yeah,
Okay.
those are the pipas, yeah.
Got it. Okay. I got that one. Um, What I've said this when I was tasting wine with you. It's always interesting for me to taste wine with the winemakers because we taste wines differently. Like, I'm always looking for like what is good, what is delicious, what can I use from this wine to like help me sell this
Mm.
wine. But like you as a winemaker, you're probably like, what's fucked up with this wine? Like what went wrong? How can I make it wine?
True,
Like you were
true.
always looking for what went wrong, and I'm always looking for what is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm curious, like when I don't know when the last time you tasted this wine. I'm sure you're familiar with it, but yeah, like what do you think about this wine? What do you take away from this
23, you have as a producer, as a winemaker, you have challenging years, no? And in the challenging years is when you really prove. In an easy year, it's like the wine is forgiven, like everybody can make a good wine. In a difficult year is when you really see the skills of somebody in the intuition, the choices, the whatever, especially in natural wines that you have so little tools that you really have to like use your intuition alone. And 23, as we were talking, is when we have the fires, we have to deal with a lot of things. We have the fires on the 2nd of February, and the harvest it was like 3 weeks after. So we have like team people coming. We have to like make lot of decisions or like quick decisions, and so it was a very stressful time. And and I think we end up having like a super nice and fresh, and sometimes some bottles you can still feel a little bit at the back, a little bit of smoke.
wine?
Sometimes you don't. It's I don't know what you guys feel there. You can
Do you
tell us.
guys get smoke on this? 2023 was a big year for wildfire in Chile. Um, yeah, Leo was definitely affected. Roberto Benitez, which we tasted 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago, he also had to deal with fire. Yeah, the people had to literally battle fire in 2023. Do you guys get any smoke taint or I don't get any in my bottle. Mine tastes just fine. Really clean actually. Um,
So that's the thing, because it depends on the bottles, um, but yeah, I think we end up having like a really nice fridge. It's still like on a warmer side of what of Pipeno,
yeah.
but I'm really happy with what we have. It's like
Yeah. What I love about this Pipeno or this I think first of all it's just delicious. It's this I may drink this whole liter by myself tonight, but
sometimes
the
the liquor is not enough.
yeah, exactly. It's aromatically and texturally just fascinating. Because it's not just the typical flowers, the muscat, that thing. There's a lot of like the nature of the fruit, nature of the flower. It's not just fresh. There's like a little bit of a preserved thing going on here. So like it's layered. So florally, aromatically, it's really really pretty, but also complex. Um, Obviously the acid, um, but texturally, I think it's the skin contact that you put on here, but it's like it's got the richness. It's almost got the like, oiliness to the thing. It's not just like a light, watery kind of a thing. There's some weight to the wine, which I really like. Especially, I like the weighty white wines with high acid. Like those are like really
Yeah.
the white wines I really like to drink. Um, and so I think that's the skin, and I'm curious to what you think about it. And then finally, the last bite, and I'm really curious where you think this comes from, but I find it quite briny, like quite salty. There's a lot
Yeah.
of like saltiness to the wine. So like, is that a function of the soil? Is it
Yeah, absolutely.
uh, 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 approximate to the ocean? Like, well, yeah, what do you think all that?
Yeah, I mean the saltiness is really something that you feel always on whites on granite,
Mm,
uh, and it's something that kind of is a fingerprint of granitic soils. Um, the freshness and the crispiness comes from like keeping the acids. So and the acids are kept by cold climate, cold nights or something. So any avoiding the respiration of the acids in the grape. It helps to keep the freshness, acidity. The Moscatel was, as I said before, well, Torontel in general here is like a grape that really brings not a lot of aromatic, but a lot of mouth feeling. So I really like it. I really enjoyed it. And Moscatel is something that I think is really interesting. I'm seeing a lot of different phases of Moscatel, trying on different soil types or different type of granites, different types of macerations. And I think it's a grape that we have misunderstood in the wine world for a long while. And it's something I'm excited. I think we can have another another testing in 10 years.
Yeah.
To see the results. But I think it's something that ages fantastically well. It's like crazy, like how, and we maybe the misconception it comes from drinking it too early, because all the floral after like 5, 6, 7 years, all this kind of like overwhelming floral sometimes, not in Itata, I'm talking in general, it kind of goes away and it opens up to all different things. And I think it can be delicious to have Moscatels in 10 years.
Interesting. Yeah, and that's another thing. Like, it's aromatically, it's there. Obviously, all that florality, all the aromas, but like it's restrained. It's like it's not over the top. It's like perfectly in like, perfectly in balance and harmony. That's what I really appreciate about this. So yeah, I mean, all around, I've always been a big fan of your wine, but yeah, another banger. This is delicious. Does everybody like this wine, by the way? Leo is not going to take it as a personal.
No.
If you feel like it. But does anybody have any opinion or any feedback about the wine? Everybody's shy now because you.
They don't like it.
When I first opened it, I was pretty stunned. I was like, "This tastes like shampoo," but then
okay.
But that was like right when I first opened it. But yeah, I did it like hour and a half ago, and it's just really tasty. I really love the kind of white blossom, like toasted honey. It's very good. Thank you for sharing.
I had forgotten to chill mine, so I like threw it in the freezer in the ice box for like an hour. So it came out like really cold, and then it was like very petrally, then blew off, and as it's warmed up, like all of those floral, all those like blossom notes have like come out as it's gotten a little bit warmer. And yeah, it's dangerously crushable. So I'm glad it's in a 1 liter bottle.
Excellent. Allison, you feel like you were about to say something.
I was just gonna type our regrets because we're gonna sign off. I keep yawning and I'm sorry. I'm very tired. But thank you for joining us. I was literally just typing, "Good night, everyone. Sorry, we're tired."
It's all good.
We'll see you.
I mean, you got him joining us. This is 11:30 his time over there and joining us, and you were saying it's 9:30.
No, listen, I'm not pretending that I'm cool. I'm not that this is defensible. I'm just claiming that this is my truth.
No, I appreciate you for owning your own truth. It's important.
A good night.
Right.
Thanks, Alison.
Finally, Leo, let's quickly touch base about I wanted to ask you about kind of the future of where you were headed. I know you got the new vineyards planted. I mean, I don't know if you can call it new, but when you're comparing to 50-year-old vines, I think 10-year-old is pretty new. But your new vineyards around your homes, kind of what you got going on, what that project is for you, what that means for you, what you're trying to do there.
I'm in a big way. I'm trying to challenge myself now. I want to like prove things that I can show something completely different, like something new. And after all this kind of knowledge and things, I think you have to show it with what you're doing. So if I can show the day of tomorrow certain Albarino, certain types of and I really believe like this region can be fantastic for white wines. I truly believe. I think it's if somewhere in Chile the white wine should be, it seems like here.
Yeah, agreed.
So I don't know, but that's my kind of thoughts. I need to prove them right. So far I've been wrong, but I'm
I
not
don't know.
giving up.
That
I'm
Shannon
not
they
giving.
showed me was a pretty good,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
very
No,
good actually.
I just have to like bottle it and like being like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's all a process. It's a whole process. So I'm excited. That's why like I go to bed thinking on how to work on the farm. I wake up in the morning working on the farm. It's like it's an ongoing process. We've been working with chickens today, like to bring them in, like building like chicken coops to like bring them into the Chenin Blanc kind of yeah system. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Um, hold on, I'm gonna share something with everybody on the screen real quick, just so people have an idea of what they're looking at. And the first thing is, so just in case you're all wondering where Leo is, Kokekura, this is where he is. So, which is this little town. So if I were to zoom out of Chile, so Santiago's up here. This is where we are, Kokekura. Um, so, Concepcion and below, this is Bio. Now we're in Itata, and going up towards Talca, this is Maule, is basically essentially kind of what we're looking at. And his property is this little dot. Didn't even have an address. He just, I mean, I guess it is Vinos, it registers as Vinos Bravo in the
Yeah,
map. But, I had to literally just kind of follow the Google map here. And then you have to go through just dirt road to get ourselves up here. And then to kind of show you where it is, give me 1 second, or what his property looks like. So this is his property. This is where I stay. This is Vega's home. This is taken from his balcony here. So that's the Pacific Ocean here. Like this is how close it is to the Pacific Ocean. You can see it from his property. So you just imagine the wind, the breeze that comes through here, and I felt it
yeah,
because I remember staying on this. By the way, this is winery made out of all the recycled panels and different things. This whole property is, I don't know. I don't know if you can put a number on it, but close to being off grid at this point. 90% off grid, Leo, maybe
yeah, 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 yeah.
95% off the grid. But yeah, just like, I mean, it's made from recycled material and all of that. And then I was lying here, I was hanging out in this balcony up here, and the sun is so strong that it's so warm when you're in the sun. But as soon as you go in the shade, all the cool air that comes in from Pacific Ocean, it's actually quite chilly, and it's cool. So I kept thinking about, like, imagine the vines, what that would be like. But okay, I don't know. I'm just showing you a bunch of stuff. But um, so yeah, this is inside of that winery. This is like his tasting room slash everything. His Leo looking, pondering life as he looks up in the window. And here's his press, basket press. Um, yeah, so this is where the wines are made. So these are the big kind of open top fermenters that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then this is cool. This press is so cool. I love that press. Um, it's also tinaja, so these are amphoras that he works with. Here. This is his chicken coop that he was just talking about. This is where the chickens
Yeah.
are. Uh, yeah, look at that. This tinaja was made in 1788. To give you an idea how old these things are that he's working with. Um, this is also the greenhouse that he's got going on in the back. This little cabaña that I stayed was really literally right next to it, so I could like look out the window, and this is what I'm seeing. He's got different vegetables and things that he's growing there. Here's the chickens, and then these are like the different vineyards that he's planting around his property right now. This is the oidium that he's talking about, that fungus that he's dealing with right now and trying to figure out how to solve this problem. These berries, you see these little black mold that's growing there. So that's like a fungus essentially called oidium that he's trying to combat. Oh, there's a little what it looks like from the winery's deck. I mean, it's like such a cool place, Leo. Like I want to live here. I kept thinking that. I was like, fuck, I want to live here. But yeah, so this is where you got the kids that are
After the
biking.
wine scene.
Yeah,
Yeah, full of dinosaurs.
full of dinosaurs. Yep. I also didn't realize that you were such a Jimi Hendrix fan.
I love Jimi Hendrix. Yeah.
um, but yeah, so this is his property. This is where kind of the future. This is the entrance to his property. So you drive up this road, and then this is like the gate that you go through to enter his property. This is that winery that I was telling you about that you see from the car when you're going in. Yeah. So yeah, so you kind of see it. Hold on, let me see if I can. There are more pictures. Just an excuse for me to give you all a slideshow of what I had. Oh, this is a Soleil's wine.
Yeah.
This is the young winemaker, young woman winemaker who's taking over her dad's those 250-year-old vines and making pais there. That he was Leo was talking about this new generation, the younger generation that's starting to take over. So she brought over a bottle, and we tasted that, which is super cool. This is the birthday party that you took me to, and then this guy shows up with a whole leg of lamb that he just cooked and started him and feeding it to everybody who was there. This was like some of the best lamb I had in Chile. Like, it's amazing. Yeah, this is the birthday. So this area, Kokekura, if you guys ever make it down here, or maybe, just maybe we as a wine club should organize a trip down here. But it is unbelievably gorgeous, but it's still under the tourism radar. Like nobody knows it as a place. I could not believe how gorgeous it was. I could not believe how non-touristy it was. Like there were no tourists there really, except for like the
No.
Chilean tourists that are maybe there. But like there are no Europeans going there vacationing that I at least saw. But yeah, that was the bar that we went to for the birthday party. By the way, like his kids were like taking a nap in the car, and Leia goes, I'm gonna let him sleep. And he knows his way around this bar. He'll come to find us when he wakes up. And I was thinking like that would never happen in America. Like, the parents would freak out. They'd be like, I can't leave the kid in the car. But like, you go there, kids are playing with other kids, all the others are playing with them. Like it was amazing. This is another project that Leo does, Rogue Vine. Are you still doing Rogue Vine?
No, no. I mean, since this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had so many things on my plate. I talked to Justin, and then we
Right.
decided not to keep. Yeah, I saw him my part.
Yeah.
Because he,
This is Leo's eldest daughter, Emilia. She's amazing. This is actually the bottle that she bottled herself, named Emilia. Is 10
that's
years,
genuine.
and I think she's 11. So it's like, or maybe it's the other way. Maybe the bottle's 11 years old and she's 10 years old, or something like that. This bottle is actually as old as she is. It's basically what I'm getting at. This is a nice guy from Leo's property. This is a Milky Way. You see, like
Yeah, I love
we
that.
kept talking about. This should be one of your label design, and I'll
Yeah.
take the photo credit.
Yeah.
The Milky Way on top. But yeah, like that's his nice guy. This is the cabana they're staying in. This is the greenhouse that I was showing you. So all this is running again, like all his property, everything is built with sustainability in mind. So he's got the log oven slash water heater and everything here. This is a bedroom. Just outside is his vines. These are his dogs, Tanguito and Almendra. There are my buddies, as you can tell. These are the chickens. Yeah, so this is what his winery looks like. Oh yeah, and then head on. So these are, see, there's a Chenin Blanc that he planted. I mean, come on, like who the fuck is growing Chenin Blanc in Chile? Like, I don't. Is there anyone else who's growing Chenin Blanc in Chile, Leo? Honestly.
No.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard anybody growing Chenin Blanc.
No, nobody.
Yeah, like you're a crazy man, but I respect it. It's amazing. So yeah, these are all new vines. Some are 10 years old, but yeah, these are all younger vines that he's just planted. But he's also I'm pointing out that there's like an apple tree that he also planted there. So biodiversity, all of that. It's like vines planted amongst the trees. It's not just like a neat rows of everything.
No.
Yeah, these are the horses
Yeah.
that
I have a question, like in kind of in the vein of the like Chenin Blanc who plants that here kind of line. Is there any are there any indigenous grape varietals, right? Not Vitis vinifera that are indigenous to Chile, like as there was in like North America that you or that people are playing with doing crosses or hybrids of. I know like in at the New York wine scene or in various other American wine regions. Some like Vitis vinifera and native hybrids are doing some interesting things. And I was wondering if that, sorry, if that was something that was being explored in Chile of like, hybrid grape varietals.
No, because the Vitis vinifera is obviously European. Well, not European, but from the Caucasus. And then you have the Vitis, all the Vitis from North America, which they never. I don't think North America and South America were together only recently. So that's why you have bears there, and we don't have them here. Like so the breach in Central America is only recent, and we don't have the Vitis gender as
Got it. So the only grapes are Vitis vinifera. There was not the
no,
like we have right Concord grapes are for
exactly.
grape juice, not for wine, but in the U.S. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no, there
yeah,
was
that was the interesting to think about because like I went there and I was like, this is as perfect as of a place to grow grapes. It felt like to me at least down there. Yet it's like there was no native vines, like grapevines that grew there until the Europeans came. But
yeah,
now the grapes that are grown there, even though it is initially from Europe, like even the same, right? Like País is a Listan Prieto in Canary Islands. There's Malbec, there's Pinot, Semillon, Chasalas, there's Corinto down here. All these things exist, but they've been in Chile in isolation for so long. I mean, it's 500 years that they have almost like mutated themselves. So like genetically, they may be the same. It's like the same genus, but like it's a clonally speaking, like the the país in Chile is not the same thing as Listan Prieto in Canary Islands, because the the plants themselves have cloned themselves, have mutated, and then it's like a natural crossing and mutation that has occurred there. So it's like almost even the grapes that are found in Europe that were brought here from Europe, it is completely unique, and there's no other place in the world that has it because it has grown there for 500 years in isolation. Um,
yeah.
um, Anyways, I just want to go show a quick little more pictures. These are his cute little kids. His two youngest kids in the tank.
Oh,
Yeah, look at that. Look at you. Uh, this is what it's like to grow up in winery. You're just riding in a tank, stainless steel tank, and doing what going on a wine delivery rides, helping them with the. Yeah, I think this is a Shannon bit, but I don't know.
yeah, that's
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways. Oh, by the way, I'm sure is she also awake or is she asleep?
no, she went to bed.
Okay, so this is Leo's wife, um, Jos, which is also unbelievably kind, generous, and hospitable guest. and I am hosts that received me. So, anyways, this is the last picture I took with them before I left. So now you guys all say hello. Leo, I know where we've run long, and then I'm keeping you in isolation.
No, it was nice. It was really nice, man. I enjoyed it.
I want to do one more thing. This is real quick.
Yeah.
I always end. This is a question that everybody's in my wine club has answered, but just some quick fire questions that we always like to ask everyone who comes on 6 Foot Wine Club. So the first question is always, what was your gateway wine? What was your epiphany wine? And what is your wine that you take with you to like a deserted island where like a chilling the wine is possible?
So, what is the first one?
Gateway wine. It's like people say like marijuana is a gateway drug, and like it's like the thing that you start drinking, and then that like opens you up into the whole wine world.
Well, we were just discussing. I like Camille. It's a Morgon from Marcel Lapierre.
Okay. All right, you got the Marcel Lapierre's Beaujolais, huh? Morgon. So okay.
Yeah, and the Cuvée Camille is really nice. It's really interesting. It's really something that is such full of life and full of like it could be something like
energy. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
That's one hell of a gateway wine. What's your epiphany wine? Meaning like this is a wine that made like I don't know change your perspectives on all wines. Like so, for example. My epiphany one was a 1984 Roumier Beaumar Grand Cru Burgundy. That shit literally made hair on my body stand up. Like I've never had a visceral body reaction to wine until I had that wine, and then it's like, oh, I see how people get into this stuff. Like I see how people spend mortgage on wine. Like this is I've never had, you know. So yeah, any kind of epiphany, or in some way that was like completely change your perspectives on what it is. I mean, quite frankly, I could talk about Pais being some of my epiphany wines now, because like it challenged everything that I thought about wine until I came and drank some Pais. So,
well, I would say I was very lucky to try once a Conterno from 1963. And it's a private collection that he made for friends. Like it says on the back label, like for these friends. That what I thought it's something I would really like to do one day, like to make a special wine from just for friends. And the whole label is maybe you've seen them is these Picassos. You said Minotauro in Spanish. We said Minotauro.
Oh yeah, the man with the cow, like the bull. Yeah.
And it's all like just sketches, no? It's beautiful, and the wine was like fantastic.
Yeah,
it completely changed my perspective on how wine can age and how enjoyable it can be with time. No,
Piedmont. Okay, Piedmont is your epiphany. Okay, Conterno. Did you say 63 Conterno?
Yeah, 1963. I still have the bottle somewhere in the wineries there.
Okay. And what is the wine you take with you to a deserted island?
If I'm going to a certain island, I'll take a little of Pipeno. I don't want to run out of. I'm going to run out of with 750 of anything. So I take.
That's an excellent answer. I would take this on a deserted island for sure. Awesome. Is there any, whether wine related or not, is there any book or movie or anything that you book particularly, but like anything you have gifted the most, or do you have a favorite book, whether wine or not wine related?
I like poetry, and from the States I really like Walt Whitman. We call it hojas de hierba, but I don't know what it's amazing. It's something that I will read many times to me as a gift, then I will give it to many people that I can relate to, because it's such a something.
Is good. Okay. And final question, which is, if there's a metaphorical billboard where millions, billions of people drive by it every day and see it, and you can put any image, any word, any sentence, any phrase, anything you want on that thing, what would you put on there?
Wow, how many letters?
It's not Twitter. You don't have a, what is it, 23, 26 character limit? There's no character limit.
I will just say like, and it's something that it touches me, like very often. It will say like, stop, invite somebody. We in Spanish we say we all have.
Well, how do you say in Spanish? Say in Spanish.
Todos tenemos una botella de vino pendiente con alguien.
Botella de vino, depende de qué.
Pendiente con alguien.
Pendiente.
Sí.
I don't know what pendiente is.
When you open a bottle of wine here, it's like for a conversation, like you open a bottle of wine and then you have two, three people that you want to like really talk, or sometimes you really have like a sensible conversation. It can be like a love conversation, like a conversation that it might happen. So what we said is like we all have like a pending bottle of wine with somebody.
Ah, okay, got it. Yeah.
Like it's a conversation that you haven't had. So, but
Yeah.
you say it like because the wine kind of like held those moments all the time, like we all have a pending
Okay.
conversation. It's not in a bad way. It's like can be also like a really nice conversation. It's not like, I
Yeah.
would just say like just stop, invite somebody, and open a bottle of wine.
I like it. I like it. I mean, this is kind of stuff, honestly, I don't know if I said this, in a grateful enough way when I left, but I think I was still processing it when I left your property. But, that trip was unbelievably meaningful to me. I've been feeling, quite frankly, a little bored and uninspired with wine lately.
Mm.
And going to Chile and visiting you and two other, Jose Luis as well as Roberto, it really reinvigorated kind of my love and why I chose to do this in the first place. And I don't think I thanked you or Jos enough for hosting me and letting me crash your family for 2 days and just be a pest. So thank you so much, honestly. And this whole month it happened because I visited you and two other people as well. But like, yeah, it was a profound trip, and you played a very big part in it. So I just wanted to thank you for being an incredibly knowledgeable, humble, hospitable, host that you are, and thank you for making the time and joining us tonight.
Thank you. I think that's what I enjoy the most is like this kind of like because you coming, we having like that's right time, like beautiful time that we had together, that we shared, that we went to the beach, that and now we're talking on Zoom, like I feel like I have a new friend
Yeah.
all together. So if
I
it's
wasn't
not,
bullshitting, Leo. I'm bullshitting. If next time you're in DC or East Coast or anywhere in the state, let me know. Honestly,
yeah, yeah.
let me have the opportunity to return to hospitality. So.
No, thank you, man. And so that's what I think is the beauty of this thing, no?
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, yeah, that's what I think. That's what I want to say. Right? Like, I think it's so easy for me to intellectualize wine and get into it from a very like a cerebral point, right? Like trying to figure out like what wine is and what's happening here and how to put it all together. But at the end of the day, the reason and what has always attracted me the most about wine, and this is how I've always approached wine, is that it's more than first and foremost about the people.
Yeah,
It's about the people who touch the grapes. It's about the people who bottle the wine. It's about the people who bring that shit from there to here and then serve it. Like there's so many hands that touch this bottle before it lands here.
yeah,
And we are talking to you, and people get to see me, but you and I both know there's so many other people that have touched this to make this possible.
Yeah.
So, you know, in a way, to the name of, you know, what of this wine project you got, you know, a los Vinateros Bravos, you know, it's like it's all the people that are in that chain to make it happen. You know, it's my I feel honored and privileged to be able to tell, to be your storyteller, to represent your wine at least in this part of the country, and be able to expose people to your wine. So thank you for making delicious, thoughtful, thought-provoking wines, and thank you for being generous with your time and coming on today.
Thank
Leo
you.
Eraso of Eraso Winery, everyone.
And thanks to all of you guys for being here. Yeah.
And also, I don't know, I'm holding on to you, but do you have any questions for me or anybody else here, or the wine club, or anybody, or any parting thoughts, or if people want to keep up with what you're up to, what's happening at the Iraso Winery, like when can we taste your Shannon from Chile? You know, like where can people find this information?
You're probably gonna be the one of the first ones to know, so you can tell everybody. But if somebody from the club they want to come or they make a trip, just connect them with me, and I would be super happy to receive them. Also, if one day you all want to come on a trip, we can organize to see other producers too, which is great because it's like a lot of things going on now, like a lot of energy, a lot of young guys and girls like doing really interesting stuff, and I think it can be worth it. But
Yeah.
I don't want to. We have Cordero, we have Corvina.
Yeah. That beach bar that we went to, they make excellent ceviche. Their ceviche is
Yeah,
delicious. And
yeah.
Leo made wine just to pair it with that ceviche. So, you know.
I love ceviche, and I was missing a while.
Again, thank you, Leo. Really appreciate it. I really appreciate you coming on. I know it's late there. And I also know it's Chile, Southern Hemisphere, so your harvest is coming up very soon, probably in less than a month, right?
In 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah,
Yeah, shit.
that's
So
why it's been like crazy preparing now.
yeah. You
Fingers
got all the
crossed it all goes
harvest
well.
interns and everybody all lined up?
From Uruguay, from Argentina, from Belgium, and from
Cool.
Chile. Yeah, the whole team.
Cool. Well, I hope to actually go down there for work of harvest with you at some point. Obviously, I couldn't make
Yeah,
it.
that would be awesome. That would
Love
be
to go down
awesome.
there. But I know you and I will be in touch, and I'm gonna convince you again. But I mean, also, this is not me kicking you out. You can stay on this call as long as you want. So we're gonna turn off the recording at this point, and then we just drink the wine and shoot the shit, and we just hang out. So you're more than welcome to hang out if you want, but I know it's late, so you feel free.
Yeah, thanks soon. No, I'm gonna go to bed.
Okay.
It's quite late, and tomorrow I have to like be fresh like a lettuce.
All right. Well,
But
say
thank
hello
you.
to Josh for me as well, and Emilia and the kids. Their kids are probably like, "Who the fuck? What are you talking about? Like, I don't care about that guy, the Asian guy who stayed here, you know." But
It, it's Teresa's birthday tomorrow, so we're having a
yeah.
celebration. A lot of
Yeah.
corvina and a lot of ceviche and white wine.
Awesome. Well, at least say hello to Josh for me,
I
and
will.
tell her that I say thank you for everything that she said. Good night.
Ciao, ciao.
All right. So, like I said, I'm going to turn off the recording at this point.